Okay, you're live, but I can't see.
All right, everyone. It is about 6:25. We do have scheduled to start at 6:30, so we're going to give it just a little bit longer, and we will start right at 6:30. And when we start, I've got some housekeeping things to go over, and then we're going to jump right in. So we do want to make this probably right at an hour. So I've kind of organized it in a way that we can try to hopefully keep it right at an hour for everyone. But then, but even after we end this meeting, if there are still some things that you have questions with, I'll be around, and we'll be open to answering some questions. But we'll get started at 6:30 in just a moment.
Yeah, there's a pencil on the ground. I think. I dropped my pencil. Here, okay, there you go. Okay. I am gonna. So I'm going to put a question out to everyone here in just a little bit. One of the questions that came in, but I thought it might be better to kind of ask another poll for one specific question. So I will ask for you to make some notes with that. So many babies, new families. Yeah. Several different generations are represented. I love it.
Second day was things to remember basically about college and
Arizona married
Absolutely.
No.
It's just,
If it means you need to cool down.
the medicine just does this some days. And it can be in the dead of winter, and all of a sudden it's just nauseous. It's just what it is. I keep pretzels on me at school. The kids know that all of a sudden Mrs. starts eating, it's because she's nauseous, so just deal with it and move on. It just is what it is.
Yeah.
All right. That is more time.
I hope so.
I think this is an extra chair for Brian. I think he's got his chair.
You try to watch your so you can bring more time.
I kind of once, but I'm waiting for them.
Yeah, thank you. We just had some more come.
Yeah. I got to, don't know if they're coming. So.
You saw how hard I but it's still their batteries are CCF there.
All right, it looks like it's about 6:29. We're going to give it another minute or so, and then we're going to get started.
If I stand up, am I going to be in the frame there? This is great. I think I'm going to probably need to stand. I feel like I'm sitting
I didn't bring any money with me. I was afraid that they would melt.
You know where I live?
I know, but I was afraid they would melt.
They probably still have some people trickling in, so we'll just welcome them in as they come. But we'll go ahead and get started. Like I said, for anybody that wasn't here when I announced it a little bit ago, we're going to try to keep this right at an hour. So the goal is to go until 7:30. However, there are some things that you may still want to talk about or ask after that. So just know that once the meeting is over, that everybody's free to go. But anybody that wants to stay, I'll stay, and you can ask any questions, and we'll try to answer that as best as we can, or get those answers. So real quick, as we get started here, let me just go ahead and introduce myself. I'm not quite sure if I know everyone, so my name is Julie Sanders, and I live here in Sanborn. I grew up here, actually, moved away for several years and came back and got married. We have a great community here. There's so many things about this community that I love. And I'm married to Brian Sanders. Most of you know him. And so we have, I have lived here for going on 12 years. So we have 3 girls. It's a great place to raise kids. It's a great place to get involved in things in the community. So one of the main reasons that I wanted to get together and get the community together was just because, as you all are aware, we're experiencing things that we haven't experienced before. And kind of suddenly alarming, we're seeing that there's issues with the water. And we're seeing that come to light all at the same time as a community. And we're all going through this and kind of having some questions and wondering, what is this? How long will this last? What do I do about it? Is anybody, really experiencing all of the things that I'm experiencing? So there's a lot of things that we want to, that I've worked to get answers for, to try to streamline some answers for the questions that we all might be facing. But most of all, I think that it was just when I first saw this in our water in our community, I felt this tug at my heart, and I wanted just to be reminded everyone, as I needed to remind myself of what we are. We're resilient. We're a community, and so this is just one opportunity that we have to step up. Some of us can. We'll hear about some ways to do that, in ways that you might be interested in helping, and I will talk about that a little bit here in just a little bit. So, biggest thing is I just wanted to let you know that this meeting is citizen-led. Any board members or town's community, Sanborn staff, employed staff, they are here as community members today, citizen members. So they will be acting as members, and they're a part of our community too. So we want to remember that as we go. So I've got just a few housekeeping things as we get kicked off here. As we get going, in order to keep this inside of an hour, I've organized these questions and the answers to them. These questions were sent to me from various people. So I've reached out to board members to get some answers to pass those questions to those answers to those questions along. So I've gone through, after I've gone through this question and answer portion of the meeting, if I haven't addressed your question yet, you will have an opportunity later in the meeting. And at that time, we'll give about 2 minutes per question, 2 minutes per answer, so that we can keep things rolling and keep things to the time that we've set allowed for this meeting. So just know that you will have that opportunity. Also, you may have some other issues that you might want, town issues or other things that you may have come to mind during this time, and that you may want to address. But just so you know, we want to make sure that just for the purpose of this meeting, we are going to be sure just to address just water and sewer issues. So other town issues, that may be just for another meeting. This one is just going to address water and sewer. So the other thing is, we are recording this. This is live. It's streaming. So keep that in mind with your responses. We're going to try to make sure that everyone can hear me also. So if there's a point that you can't hear me, just raise your hand. Tell me to get my mic closer to my mouth. We want to make sure that you can hear, but we also want to make sure then to keep ringers off and holding those questions and comments for the later portion of the meeting. Additionally, we have this map here. So at the end of this meeting, if you've experienced issues with your water, things that I'm going to go over here in just a little bit, I kind of want you to participate a little bit. I've got some pins here. We've got a map, and if you could just pin the location of where you're experiencing those issues. it'd be nice to kind of see where those are, and if maybe are they centrally located? We don't have a great representation of the whole town, but I think I could see people from all different neighborhoods, and it'll just be kind of interesting to see where those are. So wanted to announce that as well. So real quick, let's talk about community as we get started in this. And I said that the reason that this is important to me is because this community is important. Let me just tell you what I've experienced here. Things. Several years ago, we had a teenager have an accident, flip her car outside of town. And I was on the phone with her when she did it. And we weren't nearby and couldn't get right there. But the first thing I did was call a neighbor that was close by. No questions asked. They were there. The car was off, the windows were up, and she couldn't get out. They kicked her windows out, and they got her out. The volunteer fire department showed up, and all of our community, all of our friends were there to take care of my girl, who was scared and hurt. And so that was one thing I've experienced in my community. There was no press. They're right there to help. Not just because they're supposed to, but because they're part of this community and they love us. Through COVID, we had community concerts here in the front yard. The town came together. We came together for each other. We watched community happening then. Tornado sheltering for neighbors that don't have shelters or basements like us. At Lenora's or at the church or different places, we come together as a community. My husband moved to town. First thing the neighbor told him, Frank, you can borrow my tools. Whatever you need, let me know. That was the spirit of our neighborhood. That's Maple Street. And I'm proud of that. We've got garden gifts and garden gnomes that we share. And we've also said by another neighbor that everything's sweet on Maple Street. So let me just tell you that this is a great neighborhood that I live in, but it's a reflection of the community that we live in also. So if you are in a place that you don't have that community, that right there next to you, look for it, find it, maybe be it, because it's super special, and that's why I'm motivated to do the things that I do. It's pushed me to be a better neighbor. And the list goes on, but that's just what I wanted to share with you so that we can kind of come back to remembering exactly what we are as a community and what we need to do. Sometimes doesn't, we're frustrated and we forget sometimes that we need to slow down, stop and remember what we are. And hopefully if you've got to that point that maybe you've forgotten, that this works and it can bring you back to remembering. So with that, in this community, I want to kind of be a little interactive here. I'm going to take a poll. Rather than going around this space and asking what problems have you experienced, I'm going to list some problems, and then I'm going to ask you to kind of raise your hand if you've been affected by this. Because I think that's the other thing is we want to be heard. So this is a good way to be heard. Let me know what those problems are. So the first thing I'm going to start with, and I want you to raise your hand if this is more true for you, okay? If you experience a strong chlorine smell at least one day a month, can you raise your hand? Okay. If you experience that, oh, that's okay.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna mark it too on here in just a little bit. So I think, but yeah. So go ahead and keep your hands up. If you had your hand up, keep it up. If you experience that more than one day a week. Okay. All right. Would you say that you experience it 5 times in a month? Anybody? Hands still up? Okay. 10 times in a month? Is this a pretty normal thing? Okay. All right. Good thing is I'm hearing about that. How about eggs? Does anybody experience a different smell, the egg smell? Yeah, I'm going to put my hand up. That's not real pleasant. It kind of makes me wonder where that's coming from. How about yellow water? 1 to 3 days a week? Hands? Okay, I see a majority. Keep them up. More than 3 days a week? Okay. All right. How about we're gonna talk about brown water. That's probably what's got most of us. All right. So brown water 2 days a week. Anybody? Keep them up more than that? All right. Would you say in a month's time, are you experiencing it half the month or more? Okay. It's good to know. The communication is what we're working on here, and wanting to communicate the frequency and how often, just because, you know, we've got this out here, and it's quite possible that we're going to mark out some areas that are more having more issues. I've heard from other people that haven't had any issues. If you haven't had any issues, raise your hand. That's wonderful. I'm so glad to hear. Okay. All right. Awesome. Okay. Any on this side? All right. So I know that we've experienced some ruined laundry. I guess you can raise your hands if you've ruined your favorite shirt, your favorite sheets,
Baseball uniform.
your baseball uniforms, onesies. How about experienced problems with hot tubs, pools, and other things? Yeah, we've got quite a bit over here. So we've experienced some things. We've experienced some damage. It's not all permanent. Some of it is costly, and it's frustrating. So right now, the current water situation. Let's talk about that. I imagine those are, it's a big question on your mind. What's going on with the water? The good thing is that I'm hearing is, yes, there is a problem. They have addressed it, and it's being corrected right now. On my notes, I have very important notes here to tell you about that. The biggest thing that I think most people are wanting to know is the water safe to drink? Anybody want to know about that? Okay. We've got babies. We got just in general, it's our health. We want to know that it's safe. That's so. I can tell you that I have reached out to the board members, and I have tested our water. I bought testing strips and kept, and neighbors have tested also, just to back that up. And the water has been safe to drink. It doesn't look pretty. We drink it filtered, but I can assure you that what we have has been safe. If for some feel like it is, and you have questions, I have tests, and we also have bottled water. Neighbors are supplying bottles of water for anybody that needs that. Just to let you know that that's available. Just a minute. I want to give you a better rundown of the current state of the water situation, but I need to look at my. I have that notebook. Didn't get that in there. Thank you. All right. So I find this here in just a second, I want to give you a better rundown of it. These answers came from board members. I did talk to them now, and so that they did fill me in on the rundown of what's been going on. But just a long story, short of the long story is that there has been some turnover, some change in the water department, and those people also are in our community. We want to make sure that we're remembering that. For a long time, have been in our community. Not quite sure exactly it's what has or how long that has been leading up to the problems that are being dealt with now. But those problems are being dealt with, and this started back in, I think that they started in October, started to be addressed. And so this didn't just start. This has been a process. It's just, I think that we've been noticing it more with the way that it's being handled. So that is kind of where we're at with it. So just with changes in who's doing the work and what's being communicated about it. I think that as with anything, I think we're finding also that, you know, when it's a one-person job, there's not a lot to communicate. But you know, when things, you know, when it changes hands, then we think about uh, how how we carry on and keep going forward with that. And I think that right now they're in a process of establishing how that will operate going forward. But right now, one of the biggest questions was, is the water safe? And the answer to that is yes. And right now, what's being done? Another question is, does the town have a timeline plan for the current water situation to be resolved? Okay, I'm sure a lot of people are having that same question. So the answer that I found with that was with flushing and backwashing and running through filtration, that, you know, this is starting to happen. So we know that we've had a lot of flushing happening lately. How long will this take? Ideally, they want us for this to be resolved. I think we're in the middle of that right now. There's a few more to flush, from what I understand, and then they're going to go back and revisit the ones that needed it the most. Right? So we're not quite done with that yet, but I do think that the biggest thing is the communication of how and when that's being done, and I think that that's a process that's being that they're starting to work on as well. So I'm going to ask one more question here. How would you like to see that communication? I'm going to take 3 people and just give me some ideas of how you would like to see the communication of when this flushing is being done, so that we can plan accordingly. Is there a better way? Do you have anything that you'd like to? Yeah, you can write it down. I think right now the best way is and that they are utilizing. Not everybody has Facebook, but if you are able to get onto the town website or town Facebook page, you'll see that they put out announcements there. Also, if you're not on the alert that comes to text messages, you can get signed up, and we can get you signed up with that too. But those messages should come out regularly. There has been some miscommunication. I think it's a process they're starting to work out, but I think that they're going to be able to tell us when the hydrants are going to be flushed, because what we have been able to see is that when they're flushing hydrants, that whoever's on the end of that line, is what I understand, their water is brown, and that's when we start to experience the laundry problems and hot tub problems and the things that get ruined with that. But it is important that those get flushed so that we can get to a better situation with the water. Another question. Let's have another question here. What other expenses is the town looking at in the near future to ensure the water does not return to the current state? Does anybody else have that question? Yep. Okay. So it looks like they're doing some work to. There's some pumps that aren't working, and that comes at a cost. There's some hydrants that will continue to be flushed. They've made new purchases with some systems that were damaged and needed to be replaced. They've rewritten collection ordinance. They found about $8,000 of unpaid water bills, and so they've rewritten collection ordinance about that. Recently, then with that, a recent water line repair has been done. I don't know if that was part of this water issue, or if it was collectively as a whole just a problem. Some filtration beds that are going to need to be repaired. Is that correct? And sewer. Okay. So yeah, there are some other expenses, but right now, as far as the shape of our drinking water goes, they're doing what they can do right now to fix discoloration and get the lines cleared up. But there are more things to come. And so another question I think everybody's wanting to know is, how is that going to happen? What are we going to do in order to get the funding for these repairs? What avenues are we going to utilize to fund those repairs and expenses? So I did get a lot of information so far. And Renee has done a lot to get in contact with different people, but this is something I think that I want to put out to us, our community, that I'd like to be involved in helping, and I'd like to find some more people that would be interested in doing some more research, because I think together, collectively, we can really get some things done. But here's what she's found so far. She has contacted Alliance of Rural Indiana. She's gotten in contact with Erica Goebel in Wheatland, the state water trainer. She's reached out to surrounding towns. She's researched the OCRA grant, and called and talked to the Southern Indiana Development Commission. Learned about some funding opportunities. There's one that is a matching grant, 75%, 25%, but that's going to require an engineering study. Not sure what that cost will be exactly yet, but we should know more about that the first part of August. But with that'll be really helpful. But you have to have the 25% first. So with that, met with Mr. McGowan with Commonwealth Engineering. Another option is USDA bonds, Rural Water Fund. That's an option. Has also received some information about state revolving funds. That's dependent on a low to moderate income mapping study. So more to do on that, I think. And then also talk to Kelly Streeter with Rural Development Commission. And but also, so those are the things that she's looked at for funding. But in the meantime, they've done the water inspection with IDEM, solicited for bids for an aeration system. Is that sewer? Mm-hmm. And just really putting boots to the ground and getting some things, getting the plan and options lined out, and so that the plan for kind of really solidifying, the way forward as far as funding for the infrastructure. And so that's in the works. And this has been a process, but a lot of information, or all of this coming together in a pretty short time. So know that that's being handled, that's being done. So there was another question. I'm going to move on. How can the town better provide communication to homeowners regarding hydrant flushing? So this is something I addressed a little bit ago. We're knowing that communication is there and then utilizing it. I think that it's just, there's a lot of different hands in the pot when it comes to the work being done. And so I think communicating to the different ones that are involved is key. And knowing that it's important to all of us, I think that that message is clear, that we really need to know, because it really does hinder daily life. When it causes a problems in the homes. So I think that we can see that will start to happen a little bit. It has improved, and I think that it will continue to improve. Okay, here's a good question, and I'm not sure if you guys may have this question, but somebody did, so we got this one answered. The question is, when was the last testing done and what did it report? So according to the code, It's 3327 IAC 8-2-13. A municipality must report results within 24 hours to IDEM of lab completion if positive coliform nitrate results. So that is, it's a bacteria greater than 5, or any maximum contamination level violation unless the county health department is conducting the testing and reported it. So they referenced a post that was informing the town of the results of a previous positive result in the town, and that the town wasn't notified. So the question is, how can we ensure that these things are being done properly to ensure the safety and well-being of residents? Positive coliform presence means bacteria was detected in water, signaling potential contamination. So
When you say the town wasn't notified, are you talking about the municipality or the public?
I believe it was the town. Is that right?
So all of the testing goes out to another lab
In Farmersburg.
in Farmersburg to be tested. Then that lab is what gives the results to IDEM. As far as when the chloroform was tested positive, I am not for sure. Whenever I pulled the information for that CCR that you guys got, it was for 2024 and 2025. So I don't know when that positive test was in those 2 years.
So, yeah. So for anybody that wasn't able to hear, so that testing is done at a lab in Farmersburg, and Farmersburg then reports that to the state. Found when pulling information, is that correct? And that's when people were notified. It hasn't been an issue since then, but that was something that was to be reported regularly, and then that's why we were seeing it later.
The CCR has to go out once a year, just so you guys are aware of what's in the drinking water, and it wasn't done last year, so that's why whenever I pulled information for the state, I had to do 2 years together. But our testing goes out every month to Farmersburg.
So the second part is, if it's not being reported and treated, this information is someone held accountable for that? And the answer to that is yes. Yes, they are. And another question is, what measures are being taken to make sure these steps are followed? I think that the answer to that was that this process is being established going forward, because things are being operated differently now, and kind of more of a collective effort. And so the processes are changing and are being done to state standard with transparency. What is the website that they could go to?
It's the Indiana Quality Water Viewer.
Okay, so there is a website you can go to. It's the Indiana Quality Water Viewer. And so there you can find information about the water. Is that statewide? Statewide. So that's available for us as well. So I think we're taking some notes. So if you have some questions or you didn't catch that, get with me and we'll let you know. So what action plan is currently in place to correct what's wrong with the water right now? So there is a schedule of flushing and backwashing and running through filtration, ensuring testing is done to state standards. So this is a continuous thing that will continue to be done, from here going forward. So the other question is, and I don't know that I have the answer to this right now, but it's still a good question, and I'd like to revisit it when I have an answer. But what budget planning corrective actions are being taken to ensure money is being allotted into a maintenance fund for say so we do not find ourselves in this position again? I think just something to table at the moment, unless we have an answer. But I didn't get an answer to that just yet. But I do believe that as the process is being established and systems are being put in place, that will be part of the plan to have a transparency about that if there isn't one already. So. And the other thing on that same line is data logging and reporting of individuals conducting testing, maintenance, routine working for the town to ensure that they're practicing what they're hired to do and with state and federal regulation. And I think that does, with state standards, I think that is that's part of the process of logging that will just be ensured that that's available for people to. I think that is that standard practice to be available, kind of a transparency portal. So along those lines, some comments, and I think that you can all agree. I guess I'm going to ask you to raise your hand if you agree. Don't raise your hand if you're impartial. But the transparency is crucial at this point. I think that we all want that. We want to be able to know that things are changing for, we see the problem, but we didn't necessarily know what the fix was, but then it's still our homes, it's our households, it's our livelihood. I want to know and trust that is the system that's being changed and being corrected. And I think that more than anything, that communication is so crucial. And so that's part of the reason we're doing this today, is so that, we can be heard, but also have questions that are answered that we want to make sure to address. But I think the biggest thing that I heard from a lot of people, and I'm there too, is there's a better way. And I think as far as putting processes in place, transparency and communication is one of those things. I think that, that we can all agree that, improve so that we can, make sure that we are rowing in the right way and that we know it. So and identifying the problems, I see that that's happening right now. Identifying problems, working to correct it, maintain it, and build a future. It's so important. I think that's one of our biggest concerns, is that we know that we have a future, that we're preserving the infrastructure for the next generation. We look around, we've got so many young families here, and that's one of the things that it's important to all of us, and we want to make sure that that we are advocating for that as a community. And so that was a common theme that I heard when I was talking to people in preparation for this. So moving on, we're right about 7:05, so we're doing pretty good on time. What can we do to help? Okay, I think we've talked about the problem long enough. What are we going to do about it? What can we do about it? We know that there's a work in progress and processes in place to get the ball rolling, and that things are happening. But there's an opportunity for us. So what can we do? A lot has been done thus far in the way of research and finding available funding opportunities. We heard a lot about that. However, like I said earlier, I would like to get at least 5 people who would be interested in working together with me in an organized group, just to put your skills together with researching and possibly applying for some grants. There's I'm just one person, but with and she's just one person, and one person doing the work, you multiply that. It's amazing what you can do when you put heads together. So just looking for somebody to get on a team with me and just kind of put our heads together, do some research. And you don't have to know all the ins and outs of that. Just be willing to and able to learn and work inside of a group well. That's the important part, that I'm looking for that. So if you're interested, or if you know of somebody that might be interested, let me know. Another important thing that we need to consider too is ways that we can help our community, our neighbors. We have a lot of different income brackets represented here. You know, we don't always know what's going on inside somebody else's home, but we know what it costs us sometimes when we experience the things that we're experiencing with, the unfortunate damage of clothing or even more expensive things that others have experienced. Sometimes it boils down to peace of mind, knowing that you trust the water that you're drinking, and when it looks the way that it does, sometimes we don't. So having that just peace of mind, for helping people that may not be able to, even afford, to continue to buy this bottled water, or have the things that they need. So, if there's something that we are aware of collectively, I think that we could probably just address that. I think bring it to me, bring it to somebody. If we don't know the need, we can't really help. But as soon as we know, I think we're a great community that wants to. So if that's an issue that we're dealing with here, please help us to make sure that that isn't something that people are experiencing.
Are we calling this a modestly new problem, or are we saying this problem has always been there and nobody's ever done anything?
Well, I'll tell you what. I am just about 5 to 10 minutes away from that portion of this meeting. If you'll give me a second, I'll come back to you and we'll get that note. You're just fine. Thank you. So the last thing I want to leave with is, I may not have addressed all the questions yet. You guys will have an opportunity to ask those questions, and we are taking some notes for things that we may not have the answers to just yet. Some things, you may have insights, you may have ideas. We want to hear them. I want to hear them. I think that's part of the community that I'm asking for. The stories I told earlier about what brings me to this community and what makes me love it, love my neighbors. If you aren't experiencing that, just so you know, if you aren't experiencing this genuine community that we have here in town, look up, look for it. It's here. We do things, Maple Street Apple Butter, or just be the community. I know so many of you, and I know that you are. Just want to encourage you. Sometimes it just takes one to step up, one to step forward, I guess, to say, and maybe lead a charge to make a positive difference and to create some wheels in motion. So I just want to encourage you while I have this opportunity. So yeah, this is a wonderful place. These are people who remind me of who the neighbor I want to be, and my hope is that we will be the resilient community that pulls up our sleeves, and that we work together towards bringing a problem. And by doing so, we will be helping to ensure the younger people, these younger families, that they have what they need to thrive here as well. So let me know if you're interested in participating in that focus group with me. Let me know if you know of any other needs pertaining to water, and let's talk. So with that, I'm going to open it up. The way that we're going to do this, it is 7:09. We have 20 minutes till we officially wrap up this meeting. So we're going to take some questions. And so I'm going to go ahead and start with you. And first, will you state your name?
Tom Reed.
Mr. Tom Reed. All right. And what was your question?
Do we know if this is a modestly new problem, or are we saying that it's been here all along and nobody ever knew it?
Are we saying that this is a relatively new, modestly new, am I saying that right, new problem? Or are we saying that it was here all along and nobody really knew it? I think from the research that I've done and what I've heard, it's been a problem for a little while. But from what I understand, it's not been a problem for a long time. That we haven't been dealing, as far as I know, for a long time. Can you tell me, have you been experiencing some problems for a long time with watercolor or anything? Okay.
But my thought behind the question is, Sanborn's been here a long time.
Yes.
And there's been water flowing through these pipes a long time.
Right.
And outsider. I came from far away. But now I've been here 29 years.
Right, 29 years.
And,
So- It's a good question.
what I'm getting at is obvious, I think, in that are we dealing with something that's a chronic, serious problem, or are we just dealing with something that's occasional? More than once.
Yes,
Most problems and most
Money.
bureaucracies fix problems by throwing money at it
right.
instead of going back to the origin of the problem and assessing how much of a problem is this.
As far as I know, that they've had their what's the word I'm looking for? The IDEM has come and they have
Yeah, IDEM has done their yearly inspections with no issues prior.
Yeah.
Up until the last couple of years, that's where we've to make sure that, especially with the turnover of operators, and we're making sure that everything is to state compliance and code with all of the chemicals that need to be in the water. And that's kind of where we're seeing some of the issues, is that the chlorine is binding to the iron that is in the well water, and that's creating the brown color. And so once that gets filtered through and the sediment that gets filtered through and the chemicals are in the water the way they're supposed to be, for a longer duration, everything gets ran through, then we should be back to where we were several years ago before all of this took place and
I think that
fell off.
so did it do you want to come up here and I guess maybe they can hear your I know I can't say it in so many words. I'm going to give the shortened version, and if you still have a question after, then we can talk. His question was, has this been a long time running and we're just now finding out about it, kind of, because it is that's kind of your question. And so the answer to that is it has become a problem in the last couple of years. I do believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, it is a system, and with older systems they need repair, and I do believe that it's been probably in starting to need repair and things that we could kind of limp by with for periods of time, and deal with the most important things at different times. I'm not sure that we know that for sure, other than it is an old system and needed repair, but it is working properly for the meantime, and that steps are being made to ensure that the future of it is being addressed to make sure that we have clean water going forward, and that just the future of that infrastructure is protected. So is that correct? Okay.
Did that answer your question?
One little part of it.
Okay. That's okay. What's the
Nobody doesn't want clean water. Who's in favor of dirty water? Right?
Nobody's in
Right.
favor of dirty water.
Everybody
No.
wants clean water. On the other hand, what you said is kind of a little counterintuitive to what I've been hearing, and that is that we have this problem. It's a serious problem, and we have to take care of it. We have to
We do.
organization, and we have to throw money at it. How are we going to get funding for it?
Yeah.
And what you said was, it hasn't been a problem until
Well, I think
late.
earlier earlier, I guess I may not have stated that very well into what's being done to find research and find the funding that's available and the steps, and because now they're aware of the problems, and I think the town is aware of the problems with it and taking steps proactively and to take care of those things. But in the meantime, what we have is working. Is that what you're saying?
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
I'm sorry. We weren't going to do it this way, but this is easier. I'm sorry.
That's all right. Okay, so there are basically two separate issues going on. We have the wastewater side of things that is taking up a lot of time and money, and infrastructure that needs to be repaired. That is going to take a lot of money there for the filtration systems, not only just for public safety, but also for marine safety as the effluent goes out into the streams. On the water side and the drinking side, yes, there is some things that need to be fixed and repaired there, but the most important part is to making sure that we have the chemicals in the water and that it's getting flushed regularly, and doing all the maintenance that is supposed to be done on a regular basis. That is getting done now that wasn't being done the previous timeframes.
Does that take more organization than we currently have? And with that, are you saying that our town fathers are not capable of doing their jobs in an efficient and productive and successful way in this regard?
They are operating within the limits that they can. Because of the fact that our water tower is not very big, they're only able to flush 5 or 6 hydrants at one time. Otherwise, it drains the water tower, and then everyone loses water pressure, and then those that live out on Grandview lose water completely. So he's doing it within the parameters that he can. But again, it's just a matter of that. Make sure that we have the chemicals in, and that we are doing the weekly and monthly maintenance now that wasn't being done before.
Are we running short of the physical chemicals? Can we not afford the chemicals, and we do not have the personnel to administrate those chemicals?
We do have the personnel in there now, and the chemicals are in there now and they are doing that. That is something that the board, we have gotten in the proper people with that, with the people that had transitioned through. We do have a new wastewater person named Dustin Meadows with Meadows Environmental. And then we also do have Earl Horston right now taking care of the water department.
No, it's okay.
No, that's probably something that and I'm sorry I couldn't give all that to you. It was easier to get that way. Okay, we're gonna. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yeah. So he's saying for the older generations that have been here 40, 50 years, that there's always been, periodically been some issues, discoloration or some of the issues we're dealing with now, but more so right now. Right. You're welcome. He said we get all the. Yeah. Yes. Your name. I'm sorry. I know you're. Go ahead and state your name. That was Vic.
I got it.
GDG.
I've lived here quite a few years. I live at the end of the line, and so I get a lot of orange, not brown,
A lot of orange at the end of the line.
rust in the line, and I would call town or the water person or like Cliff or whoever, and they'd always come and flush my lines,
Yeah.
and it would clear up. That I think lines are very old, and they changed the time over here, and that's 60 years. I know they have.
That's good information. It's good to know.
I mean, it's been 100 years the line and there's a lot of rust in them and also lime.
Lime. Yep. We deal with that. We go through the
Those hot water heaters,
water
burn
heater
that
elements.
lime. Because we had to have ours changed
Yeah.
and that burns the lime out. So
She's saying that she's lived here for many, many years, and over 50 years, you said? 60 years, and the water lines are old lines. They're rusty. There's lime.
they're not flushed enough.
Yeah, they hadn't been flushed enough, but when she experiences it, she calls and they get it done, but still experiencing it.
We used to get a quarterly pay, or I don't know, we never got it, but it was like quarterly where there was the results, water results. and it
I
was
think those are.
mailed.
I think those
That's
results.
the CCR.
That's the
comes out yearly.
CCR that comes out. That's the Consumer Confidence Report,
Yeah, and that's,
and
once a
that's
year.
quarterly,
That's
a yearly thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Did they change it? Okay. It may have been.
I don't know. That is a water operator and clerk treasurer thing to take care of. And this year I had to do it because it hadn't been done last year or this year. So I don't know in previous years how it was done.
Okay. Yeah, it's hard. Yeah. 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 Do we have any other questions? Any concerns or questions that you want to ask? Yes. We have James. I'm sorry. 2 pumps down. I think 7. Are those household pumps or
No.
those are
So
at the
the pumps that you're talking about, the 7 pumps that we were having to get replaced, are at the septic,
The septic.
the wastewater treatment plant. And they are the ones that help pump the effluent that goes through the pea gravel and through the pea grit and goes through that filtration bed before it goes out to the E. coli, UV light to this river. Those are needing to be replaced because they're just running on like 2 or 3 on one bed. And that is creating a lot of ponding issues. And then the other bed is not operational at all. And so we're having to run it off of just one bed. And so those are the ones that need to be replaced. There are 2 fire hydrants that need to be replaced that are not operational. And they've been tagged for a good bit on one of them, and the other one we did is right there close to the water department. And when they replaced the new line, they didn't replace that fire hydrant because it was going to be another $8,000. And after paying $17,000 for that new line, that wasn't in the budget.
My other question is, I know it sounds to me like Black closed off. We hired somebody to do it. The consequences of CPAC or her, whoever it is.
they're not working. Yeah. So there's been transition and change of hands. Yeah. As far as that goes, I don't know. I think that it's evident too. I think it's important too that there's a lot of things that we're not going to know. It's responsibility on probably a lot of sides, and maybe some people that aren't even around anymore. Who knows how long this has been with an old system? How long can you kick it down the road? I mean, I don't know. It's a rural and fire. It's a rural community. I look at how the older farmers used to, would do things and make things work for a while. I don't know. That's just kind of what comes to mind when I think of how long have we been making the system work and working with what you had to work with. And I don't know. I think there's a lot of questions to be had there that we may not have answers for, but definitely on all of our minds. But
the sewer system is not that old.
The sewer system is not that old. Yeah. Would you say it's how old is the sewer system?
About 10, 12,
20.
20.
Okay. 20 years.
Yeah.
So it's most definitely ready for upgrades.
It is ready for upgrades. Yeah. So that's other things to consider.
Are we potentially, especially with how much money is looking into potentially going through and fixing these issues, looking at like our bills increasing, just because not to complain,
No.
but it sucks.
It's a good question.
It sucks to pay as much as we do whenever I can't trust my water
Mhm.
half the time to do what I need it to do, especially for my babies.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be paying more for something I'm not able to use right now.
And so this is Gracie.
Yes, sorry.
That's okay. From right here, and her question is, are we possibly looking at an increase in our bills because we know that there is a need for funding to make improvements and repairs on things that need to be repaired? Will we see that reflected on our bills? Because as it stands right now, as a young family especially, we have a hard time with the quality of our water and the amount of our bill. Is that what you said? So I think that that's kind of been a resounding theme also from a lot of people, that you want what you pay for. I think that's we all want that. So the answer to that, I don't know, but because that would be, I think what I did understand is in August they're going to be able to find out what money they are going to be eligible for, really, because that's when the engineering study may be done, or find out how much that will cost.
Right. I'm meeting with the engineers on July the 6th, and then I'm also meeting with RDC and a couple other places at the beginning of August. So hopefully by mid-August or so, we'll be able to know what kind of funding we might be able to get, and or what we won't qualify for, and then trying to figure out what next routes we have to go.
And I think that's another really good reason why it's so important to get on board. And we want to make sure, try the best that we can to make sure that doesn't happen, because we don't want that, obviously.
I think the community has to trust that the town maximizing its potential.
That's a good point.
With places like SIC.
Yes. He says, I think it's important that the community be able to trust that the town is maximizing their potential
As it relates to getting funding
from these areas.
I have had,
rather than just having a knee-jerk reaction
No.
of raising prices, which I kind of
Right. I do believe,
I
I
have
agree.
had numerous conversations with SIDC.
Yeah. I think that we're all in agreement.
I'm talking to Craig Jones and Rhonda Rumble.
well, that's good.
You sound like somebody that I might want to have on my team. Are you interested in just collective effort and research and finding out what's available and helping to work toward getting those funds secured? If I have a job that usually I'm on. I work in contracting, so I write on I know policies and different things. We all and help with something like this. If you're not in, that's fine. Just anybody that's interested, let me know. Do we have any other questions? Did we get your question answered?
Kind of sort of, yeah.
Okay.
As best as you could.
I'm sorry. Yes, Anna. We've got about 1 minute. She says, we currently have a rural development loan, and if we get another loan, is it possible we can go somewhere else besides rural development to get another loan? So those are.
I don't know of any other loans that, as of yet, that we can get besides that one through the USDA and the state revolving funds. Just because any other grants or anything else we have to apply for, you have to have an engineer to come out and do a study for at least a year and make a report, and then use that report to be able to apply for grants and whatnot. So it's either wait a whole year to do a study and then maybe get a grant, or find something else.
When you pay for the studies that you're talking about in engineering report, the town should have possible grants lined up so that you can
Ready to
take
go.
advantage of that one engineering
Yeah.
report.
Absolutely.
And I've got that I've been talking with that we have it. That's why I'm part of my meeting on the July the 6th. is to make a plan, and then he'll put together a list of things and that what he can do, and he'll present it to the rest of the board at our next meeting.
Yes. We're gonna probably cut it down to in about 5 minutes. We're gonna go over just a little bit, but I'm gonna go ahead and get your question. Oh yeah, do.
On the website, they check with your local banks because I know as a commercial lender, I did multiple loans with municipalities
She's saying.
in the area, so that is an option.
She's saying you piggybacking off of that, you may be worthwhile to check with local banks because as a commercial lender, they have loaned to many municipalities, so that's an option. That's good information. Thank you. Okay. Yes. Is it possible that new grants can be used on old grants? Yeah, I don't think so. Okay. All right. If anybody has any other questions or concerns, anything else that comes up, any ideas that you might have or things that you didn't consider or think of in tonight, don't hesitate to send me a message, send me a letter, write me an email, get a hold of me. I'm not the only one that can, voice it. You all can do that also. There's town meeting coming up, but for the purpose of streamlined communication was why I wanted to kind of help in that. But absolutely, if there's something that I can be of help with, let me know because I'd like to.
And
Yes.
just like to be an aid to
Yeah.
the town board and town officials, not to do their job,
Just
for
an
them,
aid.
just as a community coming together and hey, we're here to help. Get grants, do whatever we can to help because there are only a few people who work other jobs, and together we can make a better difference than putting it all on the shoulders of a few volunteers that are just working their butts off behind the scenes. So that's what this is all about more than anything, I think, is just coming together and say, how can we help you guys? Not as a pitchfork mob saying you guys suck at what you're doing. Not at all. They are trying. It's just, I think collectively we can help them out.
Yeah, we definitely want to. Yeah, it's just we want to be an aid to the people that are are doing the work, and anything that we can bring to the table, we want to. So, I thank you guys so much for coming out, and I hope that this was informative. Hopefully that you were able to get some questions asked or answered. I believe good things are coming, and value this community, and I think we all do. So, with that mindset, we can make some good change. Okay, that's it. Okay, yes. Before we end, right here, we have a map.
That's not where I'm going to go. Do you want me to turn off the light? Yes, you're welcome. Thank you guys for all of your inputs, and
We had a lot of people input, and